Okay, so this is my pedal board as it stands currently. It just shrank. You don't know that, but it just shrank from, it wasn't a ton bigger than this. It was a 23 by 18 custom board. It was an awesome board that a friend of mine built for me, and it had a Mastermind 10 on it. And then a friend of mine got the 6, and I got really excited at the idea of trying to shrink to a smaller board. So I did. This board here is a, what's it called? It's a Temple Audio board. It's called a Trio 21. Trio meaning 3 rows of pedals vertically, which I really like. 21 inches wide, 16 and a half tall. 16 and a half is pretty darn good for cramming 3 rows in. But 21 I didn't need, so I actually cut it. I actually cut the end of it off probably about 3 inches. So this is about 18 by 16 and a half. So it's barely a rectangle. It's more like a, it's almost a square. I could probably do it with a square, but I wanted room to cram a few more things on if I wanted to. So it was really, I picked the board for the size of it. I like how you can kind of put in these modules and jacks. You can't really see it. But actually I can show it to you. Check this out. All right, so, and you can't really hear me down here, but input, USB. I have a USB hub underneath that connects to the delay, the reverb, and the Mastermind. And then there's little modules. So there's a power module, and I bought a thing where you can turn it on and off. And then this is just a hole where you can put their modules. And instead, I already had a box from, this one's mine, that was a stereo sum box that I already had on my last board. So I just kind of ghetto rig made it fit in there. And so that kind of makes the whole thing work, which works out pretty good. So it looks pretty centered. So so that's as far as the actual board goes. There's Strymon power underneath. Like I said, there's a USB hub under there. I don't think there's anything else under there. At least not right now. Okay, and then let's see. Where do we go from here? Guitar. This is my guitar. This is a TMG Gatton. It's a Telecaster style guitar with dirt on it. It's got a TMG humbucker here in the bridge. It's got a pickup called a Twang Master, which is a Lindy Fralin pickup in the neck that's like a single coil and a humbucker route, which I really like. It's got the little Bigsby on there. And it's my favorite guitar ever. I would say it's the only guitar I play, because it really is the only guitar I play, unless I'm borrowing something from somebody else or whatever, but I play it all the time for everything. And then as far as amps, I will use just kind of anything that's like 40 or 50 watts. I like to run in stereo, which is a luxury that I have and am able to do, which is nice. But anything that's 40 or 50 watts is pretty great for me. I'm kind of leaning 50 watts these days, but I have 40 watt amps right now, left and right. And so let's get to this thing right here. So going into the board itself, first it comes in at the input, and then it goes straight here, straight to the Mastermind. I use input 2. You can configure it as a tuner out. I really like the little Sonic Research mini turbo tuner, so you can configure that as a tuner out. So this is always on and plugged into input 2. There's an external little bank switch here that controls, I can assign to different functions on the Mastermind. It just gives me a couple more buttons to work with. I didn't really want to go from all the extra buttons that the PVC 10 had down to like just this, although I'm making surprisingly do with all of that. So it comes in the Mastermind, and then the first loop is the Bloom, the Jackson Audio Bloom, which I got recently and really, really like. And I'll show you that. I'm going to fiddle around a lot with the Mastermind in this, and I'll do a separate video of how I set up the pages on the Mastermind in case that's of interest to anybody. But I always think it's cool to see what other people do, like looking at other people's Mastermind files, or friends of mine like having conversations about, hey, how do you set up your pages and whatever. It's given me lots of great ideas and spawned new ideas. And so I actually like that stuff. So if you're a nerd like me, then join the party. So I'm not going to explain what I'm doing on the Mastermind. I'm just going to click around to get to stuff because everything is pretty much controlled through here. The Bloom's MIDI, this is MIDI, this is MIDI, this is MIDI, and the rest are in loops. So, but I'll explain all that anyway. So first thing is, well, I should just play the straight signal. So here's that. It's middle pickup. That's the neck there. So you get a kind of idea of that. So then we go to the Bloom next. And the Bloom, if we turn that on, so the Bloom's in a loop. I should say that first. I do not use a compressor all the time. I use it sometimes, and I would say rarely. So as soon as I get to like stage 2 or more of drive, I really don't want it. I don't want it in the loop. I don't want the compressor in the front there. And I don't know that I really have a stage 1. This kind of is my stage 1, but I don't always use the compressor. So let me get there in a second. There's lots of different modes in here. I'm on the purple mode right now, and that's what you'll hear when I click this on is the... It's a great sounding compressor anyway. But I find that, and so I can bypass that via MIDI. So now the compressor's bypassed. But the EQ circuit in here, I like and use a lot. If I just click that, the EQ comes on, and you can see, maybe you can see I have it set to cut a lot of bass. The middle's pretty much normal, and that's more treble than I usually... I probably slid out of place or something a little bit. But that I really like the difference that makes in the tone to do that, to kind of cut the bass and boost the treble a bit. I love that for a clean sound. So sometimes that is my clean sound, depending on the part. And it can have its uses anyway. It can push to overdrive that way. So sometimes I'll do that with a part. Sometimes I'll add the compressor with the EQ. Especially for something where I'm picking light or whatever, and I just want it to pop out and come through. I'll do that sometimes. Sometimes it'll need a little bit more. The boost circuit, the Bloom in here, is really good for that also. I'll combine that with the EQ. I'll use it by itself. I'll combine it with the compressor. It just depends on the part. So with just the boost, you can hear the difference in. I mean, that's a great sound all by itself, and that's with nothing. So if I'm on bridge and I want to do something like that, I've used that sound before. When I'm really digging in, or I can even roll back a little bit. And it gives it that nice kind of present thing that people use a compressor or whatever for, to kind of get it to stick out a little bit. Or if I'm doing like a neck pickup thing that's, you know, down on low strings, I like the EQ for that to cut some of the bass out of there. And maybe the boost also. Anyway, there's just so many options in one box with this, and I love that, but I don't use it all the time. So this whole thing is like stage one to me. But then there's the option to put the EQ or the boost in front of something else, and so that's why it's first in the chain. So there you go. Enough about the Bloom. Let's go to the next drive, which I guess would be stage 2, is the Pettyjohn Iron. It's one of my favorite kind of power chord or like cowboy chord stage 2 sound. I should also say that I am a really big volume pot on the guitar guy, so I am adjusting. I leave the tone pretty much alone most of the time. I try and get the amp and everything else to get to a place where that's happy, but I'll constantly mess with this to change the tone of whatever drive is on. So mostly to clean up, but you know, all these pedals clean up pretty well. Even the boost on the Bloom cleans up pretty well. So I'll show you that with the Iron. That plus pick dynamics to me makes a world of difference in just a few drives, which is one of the reasons why I shrank my board, because I wanted less options to be more creative with, and that's worked out really well so far. So that is the Iron. Let's play the Iron into the Gold, which is the next stage. Iron, Gold. So it's like everything the Iron is plus some. I just love the tone of that, and the sustain of it is just... So you get the idea with that. Same thing, what I like with cleaning up with this is I like the sound of neck pickup with this cleaned up, because if it's just by itself, it's just kind of... which I like sometimes, but when you clean it up, it gets real... I like that sound a lot, so I use that a lot. And then I also will stack those two together, the Iron and the Gold, and get a stack sound, just an even more saturated kind of sound, so where the Gold kind of has the... stack them. Tons of sustain, really good for kind of biggest lead type stuff. So you kind of get the clue there. Oh, the 6X can change the order of the pedals, like what order they're in the loops, and I actually forgot that the fuzz is actually before all this stuff. I don't stack the fuzz or anything, but the fuzz by itself, it's this is a what do you call it? Fuzz face circuit. Straight nasty. But fuzz face circuits are notorious for cleaning up with the volume knob, so hence why I have a fuzz face, because then you get this kind of... And you can see where I have the knobs on it set, so it's same with the neck pickup. Lots of cool variety of sounds that can be had with that. So let's see. So those are the first 4 loops. The 5th loop is the Pog, which is the oldest running. You can probably tell by looking at it. It's the oldest running item on my board. I use it for tons of stuff. It's been through a lot. All of the stickers that I put on it, I can't take off because they took off like the POG logo. So it's just ugly, like white chipped. It's awesome. I love it. I don't think I will ever get rid of it. But I ordered this crazy kit from Czechoslovakia or somewhere like some number of years ago and modded it so where it's MIDI. So drilling into the side of a pedal for somebody who doesn't usually do that is utterly terrifying. But it worked out, and it's a little on the ghetto side, but it works. You can't turn it on or off, so I keep it in a loop. You can't turn it on and off via MIDI, but I have the ability now to, via MIDI, cycle through the 8 presets that are on it, which is great for programming and everything. So I actually, I've said this in my last demo, I've never owned a volume pedal. Any swells that I've done are always through the POG, because you can turn off all the octaves and send your dry signal through the this attack fader right here. And so it gives you like an auto swell, kind of like a slow gear thing. If you turn the pedal on, then it does that. It sounds a little fake by itself, but as soon as you put delay and reverb on it, which I'll do at the end, then, you know, you have, it's the jam, and you can't really tell. At least I can't, and I do it all the time. So then I got all my presets. It's just the standard stuff. You got a +1. I love the low pass filter on the POG, to where you can kind of take out some of the super harsh top end, so it lets me have more +1 or even +2 octave in the mix and it not be just harsh and disgusting. And of course it tracks well and all that. Then you got your +2. Don't use that much. A boost, which actually can just boost the signal a little bit. Most people don't necessarily even know you can do that, but the output level unity is a little bit below the top, so you can actually use it as a boost, which I don't do a ton, but it's there, which is pretty awesome. So, and then -1, -1, +1. I don't even know what this is. I should use that more often. It's pretty sweet. I think that used like the detune or something. Anyways, you get the idea of the POG. Oh, let's see. Then we got the, let's see. Let's come up here and do it this way. Then you got the Nemesis delay. I don't even know what patch it's on right now. It sounds like a quarter note. I've done in-depth stuff on the Nemesis before. What I like about it, I like to kind of be in the same ecosystem between these two, and the software for Source Audio I really, really like, because you can control 8 million things. And I'm already on the computer programming the Mastermind anyway when I'm working on a song or whatever. And so I like having all that in one place. And so, I mean, it sounds great. I mean, all the big, you know, delay pedals, they all sound really good. They all have great sounds in them. So it doesn't sound better or worse than another one to me. It's just I like the size of the footprint. I like the software, and like it works really well for my workflow. So that's why I use that. I tweak a lot of settings in there to kind of create more stereo space. So a delay that controls that is really good. There's plenty of different subdivisions and all that stuff in there. And I should have pulled up software, because I have a way to, lately I've kind of figured out how to make it sound like a chorus, which is pretty cool. But anyway, that's the Nemesis, and then turn that off. And then the Ventris is the reverb. This is a little bit easier to cycle, because Nemesis, I have, I don't know, probably like 80 presets on there for kind of different songs and different parts that I've built over the years. But the Ventris, I kind of just have like a few sounds that I go through, and I have a page where I can easily cycle up and down through those. So the first one is just kind of, the first three are like a like shorter tail delays, and then there's longer tail ones and some other stuff. So I'll just cycle through those real quick. That's like a room. That's one of my, there is no, I'm not always on with either one of these either. Neither of these are inside the loops. I should say that too. These are outside. Once I go out into the delay, and then stereo out of the delay into the reverb, stereo out of the reverb into the box under the board that lets me switch between mono and stereo, which I'll show you at the end. But so there is no always on, but this is one of my more common ones. Like if I just don't want a lot of reverb, but just a little bit of space, I use that all the time. You can hear how it adds space. And then I got a different one that's a bit of a longer tail. I use this one a ton. And then this is a huge space, short tail. It's great for something that I want to sound washy, but I don't want it to stick around for a million years. This one is one I use with my swells. So like, I don't care how it sounds by itself because most of my swells happen from the delay. It's the delay repeats, but this adds character that I kind of tweak for swells. Then we got a long tail that's kind of buried in the mix. Kind of like the first one, good for space, but it sticks around longer. This is the next longest tail. Which is pretty long and kind of out of the way. This one's even more in your face and a super long tail, so this is very specific parts. You can hear how long it's kind of hanging out. This one is a drone, I think. Yep. Maybe it's not. I'll do that a lot. I'll get 100% wet sound and drone with it, and just like drone strings. And I don't remember where all the other ones are. Let's see. I don't know what 9 is. One of these other ones is a different drone. It's another reason I like the software, is because I can mess with all that, and it's all pretty cool. So then, let's see if I can remember where I put that. Let's have let me go back and have just a regular old, something with space in it for a delay, or a reverb. I'll turn the delay back on too, why not? So you can hear how much space that is, and then this one is connected to my box via TRS out, my sum box over there in the corner, and so this can sum the whole signal to mono if I need to run mono, which I try not to do. But listen to the difference. That's the difference in stereo and mono guitar, because when when you play stereo, you get that really wide field and it sounds so cool, and then it just really narrows it. There's nothing wrong with mono guitar. Stereo's a luxury, I get it. But it's super hard to go back from stereo once you've been there, I think, so it's just crazy. It's like a whole different world, especially if you're listening through headphones. It's like, holy cow. So that's all that stuff. Also, I use dual lock to attach all the pedals to the board. I'll put a link down there. I actually sell kits of those online, and I just feel like it's really helpful. It's the low profile stuff. It's just way cleaner than Velcro. It's good for reselling pedals and stuff. It holds really secure and it just stays out of the way. So there's that. If I forgot something, then we'll all survive. You can ask me in the comments and I'll answer that way. So anyway, that's it for the board for now. Subscribe if you want to spend, time looking at boards and gear and being a nerd. And otherwise, see ya.